Hi, welcome to the Crypto Republic. Before we begin today, if you're serious about staying ahead in this once-in-a-lifetime financial shift, make sure you like this video, drop a comment, and subscribe to Crypto Republic. Hello, XRP Army, and welcome back to the Crypto Republic, your go-to channel for the latest high-energy updates in digital assets. Before we get started with today's business, make sure to smash that like button, ring that bell, and subscribe to the Crypto Republic. Bringing you updates every day at noon and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just a reminder, this video is for educational purposes only. This is not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. Stay with me because this is information nobody else is connecting yet. Before we break it down, thank you to everyone who takes the time to subscribe and share these videos. Your engagement helps get this information in front of more people. Your support allows me to keep bringing these deep dive, high-value insights to the crypto community. Let's talk, because right now, XRP holders, whether they realize it or not, are all staring at the same stretch of road. Not because of price, not because of charts, and definitely not because of some magic candle that's about to explode overnight, but because something structural is lining up, ladies and gentlemen. And whenever you see structure being discussed and debated and scheduled, that's when you stop scrolling and start paying attention. Now, before we go any further, let me be very clear about something up front. I absolutely hate dates. Every time crypto attaches hope to a date, that date shows up and absolutely nothing happens, vanishes mysteriously. It's like the universe has a sense of humor with us. So if you're here looking for a countdown clock or fireworks on January 15th, that's not what this video is. What this is about why this date matters, what it represents, and why XRP keeps finding itself quietly positioned at the center of these conversations. No hype, no hopium, no practice predictions. Just guardrails, infrastructure, and long-term positioning. Ripple's quiet expansion phase, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start with Ripple itself, because Ripple's on a very different path right now compared to most companies in this space. While others are busy launching tokens, rebranding roadmaps, and chasing headlines, Ripple has been doing something much less exciting and much, much more important, ladies and gentlemen. They've been expanding strategically, deliberately, and through acquisitions. And when a company starts acquiring instead of experimenting, that tells you something very important to pay attention to, ladies and gentlemen. It tells you that they're not trying to find their role anymore. Let this sink in, ladies and gentlemen. They're trying to cement it. Now, one of the names that keeps coming up in these conversations is MoonPay. And before anyone jumps to conclusions, no, this is not an announcement. This is not confirmation. This is not breaking news. This is pattern recognition. Because when you zoom out and look at the relationships, the timings, and the overlap, it starts to look less like coincidence and more like alignment. Let's talk about the connections most people ignore. Let's rewind, ladies and gentlemen, for a moment back in 2022. A senior regulator, someone deeply involved in the U.S. derivatives and enforcement, visited Ripple Labs. And at the time, it didn't make any headlines. Nobody cared. It didn't move markets. It didn't trend on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen, but it did establish a timeline. Fast forward to today. The same regulatory mind is now sitting at the helm of a major crypto on-ramp platform. A platform focused on access, on compliance, on bridging traditional finance with digital assets. Now ask yourself something. When Ripple thinks about its future, about onboarding users, institutions, and liquidity, what becomes just as important as speed and settlement? Distribution, access, compliance, ease of use. Those aren't nice to haves. Those are requirements. And when you see executives crossing paths repeatedly appearing in interviews together, showing up in the same room, discussing regulation from the same angle, that's not random, that's alignment. And again, not confirmation, just context. 589 insider codes, context. If you've been paying attention, you probably noticed recurring references to 589 on posts, in community chatter, even subtly in executive commentary. Is it a code, a signal, or just coincidence? Either way, these numbers keep surfacing around Ripple and MoonPay interactions. And serious observers take note. It's another layer of alignment that shouldn't be ignored. Think of two engineers quietly meeting in a workshop decades ago, sketching out the first electrical grid. Nobody noticed, nobody cheered. But 50 years later, every city ran on those lines. That's what Ripple and MoonPay are quietly doing right now, laying infrastructure that most people won't see until it's working. Why this isn't about hype, ladies and gentlemen? Now let's talk about something even more important, clarity. Because if there is one word that determines whether this entire industry matures, it's clarity. No excitement, no speculation, not influencers screaming targets into microphones. Clarity. And no, XRP having practical legal clarity does not mean the job is done, ladies and gentlemen. It does not. It's just beginning. Crypto doesn't function in isolation. Banks don't integrate one asset at a time. Institutions don't adopt frameworks piecemeal. Capital doesn't flow into uncertainty. What they want are rules, defined categories, clear guardrails. That's why this upcoming legislation process matters. Not because it flips a switch overnight, but because it sets the direction of travel. This January 15th date did not come out of thin air. This was first reported by Eleanor Trett from Crypto in America, someone who has been consistently plugged in directly into congressional staffers, regulators, and legislative timelines. She reported that members of the Senate Banking Committee formally landed on January 15th as the markup date for crypto, market structure legislation. That's not hype, that's process. A markup doesn't mean passage, but it does mean lawmakers are actively shaping the framework. This is how clarity actually begins, quietly, procedurally. And long before headlines scream, crypto clarity is here. And that's why serious market participants are watching this date closely, without expecting fireworks. Institutions are watching, not trading. Here's the part retail often misunderstands. Institutions are not waiting for price signals. They're waiting for permission structure. That's why firms like Franklin Templeton don't talk about XRP like traders do. They talk about it like infrastructure. Payments first, settlement focus, liquidity driven, not hype, not narratives, function. And when major asset managers publicly acknowledge XRP as a foundational building block, that tells you something very important. They're not chasing momentum. They're positioning for integration. And integration only happens once the rules are clear. Franklin Templeton, XLM and digital assets. When Sandy Call describes the XRP ledger as payment first, low cost, and settlement efficient, she's framing it as the same way institutions frame rails, like SWIFT, ACH, or FedWire, as plumbing, not speculation. And it's not just XRP. Franklin Templeton has also highlighted XLM as part of their strategy, reinforcing that the broader payments and settlement ecosystem is under institutional observation. This isn't hype, it's cross-chain infrastructure positioning. And that matters because institutional capital doesn't chase volatility. It waits for regulatory guardrails, operational clarity, and systems that can scale under compliance. That's the lens this entire Clarity Act discussion needs to be viewed through. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hope everyone's having a happy Sunday morning. So much to talk about, so few time. First off, loving the comments, loving the energy, loving everything. We look at what XRP is doing right now. It's begun its cold march, and I hope you're enjoying your frosty beverage. So the march up this cold mountaintop is going to be rough, but it's going to be worth it because I can tell you the view from the mountaintop is lovely. So I'm in the camp that I don't believe the traditional crypto cycles exist anymore. I don't. I've been saying this nonstop on the phone to family offices, funds of funds, very, very large commodity brokers that I've dealt with for the last 25 years. There's so much changing right now at such a pandemic rate. It's massive, right? It's very hard to quantify it all fast. So I'm going to try to break it down. 1 + 1 is 2. So stay with me as I drill down here right now, right? Touching back on to Venezuela, the fact that this was done in the timelines it was done right after the Chinese had a delegation there to try to toast to them cementing their role in Latin America with resources to come. And they woke up the next morning to basically be in a whole brand new world, sends a very big message about what's happening with the financial system, okay? Again, we believe that this is in response to their attack, coordinated attack starting in October on the entire U.S. and financial markets, the way commodities are priced. We're very happy to see right now that, again, what we've been talking about the last couple videos, how the money is coming out of paper trading in the CME for things into other assets. And you can see across the broader crypto market, things are beginning to move. I don't like dates because it's always buy the rumor, sell the news, right? So as we approach January 15th, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. We could see prices start to push higher. We could see a lot of things start to push higher, right? Do they sell off after January 15th? That's just the opening discussion about certain things, okay? That's not going to give us full-blown everything. There's a lot of things that could derail a lot of things right now. But what's very interesting is, as we believe this year is going to be the printed to win it phase, and as money flows out of the crowded metal trade and flows into undervalued assets, we can see a lot of very, very interesting things happen here, right? Okay. The world is seeing some very different things right now. And stay with me as I drill down 1+1 is 2. Okay. I'm going to drill down into this. A lot of things are going to change. And why I say this is, use the first piece on our new map, which I'm going to have to put a new one out, that the resource war will continue. Now, as that has been radically transformed to what people once thought and they planned about, that is something brand new. We fully believe the Fed will have their printed to win it phase beginning soon. We believe that there will be radical changes with SWIFT system. We believe that there's going to be radical changes with the banking systems and even how the region of London sets FX prices, which they've had a monopoly taking a vig on forever. Okay. We believe that there's going to be things changing so fast to usher in a brand new financial system that's coming and being built in front of our eyes. Because again, the East tranche was taking old plays from the Western world about how to build their whole settlement system. Old plays that were discussed at Bretton Woods. They're not using that anymore, right? So we're going into a new era, a new world with this, right? And with that new era, new world, is going to come rails. It's going to come blockchain. It's going to come speed, efficiency. It's going to come a lot of things. I'm not sitting here trying to put predictions on prices, okay? But we believe that as long as the BOJ, as long as they don't do anything that's not scripted of what people think, XRP is going to continue to move higher. If they turn around and basically come out and throw shade on a lot of things right now, it could drop lower. If there's a government shutdown, they could drop slower. There's a lot of things right now. But the one thing why we talk about not price targets, we talk about positioning and structure for the future is, you can't stop progress. You can't be a Luddite. You can't burn down factories to stop, people, farmers leaving the agrarian society, going back to the future. You can't stop that, okay? So as we're swimming underneath the sharks, as the remora, the world is transforming into something brand new, right? And you really can't change that. What you can do is you can prepare for that, right? So overall, this is a brand new world. And another thing that no one's talking about right now real fast about what happened in Venezuela. Venezuela was one of the largest purchasers of Chinese military equipment. A lot of that military equipment, amphibious assault gear. And now we get a look at that. We get to see how that works. So, if you want to put that up on the map about how, if Taiwan was basically to repel an invasion, they're going to have a first class look at the machines and weapon systems that would be used there. So when you're looking at where we're going and why I don't like dates, because people buy the rumor and they sell the news. Now, with this date coming here, the United States has become the crypto center of the world, the crypto capital of the world. Whatever the U.S. does, the rest of the world gets in line. So as the BRICS are trying to create something of dust off a playbook that we basically tossed aside, we're building something new. The West Side is building something brand new for the new world, okay? Because everything that has been done is kind of been recycled, So when you look at this and why I'm saying this, okay, it's an amazing time to be able to position yourself, if you can, for what's going to happen. And you basically stop looking at charts and say, this is for the long run for me. I'm going to look at this in a few years. Again, you look at this in a few years. And why I always said that XRP is like oil, because to develop oil concessions takes significant time. It's not like developing precious metal or semi-precious metal concessions where you can just start ripping things out of the ground. It takes infrastructure. It takes time. It takes a lot of things, right? I'm so excited to see where the world is going, because it's going to usher in a new age for everyone, for finance. And right now, the ability for people to be involved at such a ground level is so unbelievable, because if you look at the market cap of overall cryptos compared to everything else, it's so small, it's unbelievable. I don't like to use people's names, but you have titans of industry that are in some of the oldest firms gearing up for this, right? And these are not very interesting things to talk about. It's even hard to explain this in small periods of time. But you're going to have, see, I got that Gucci clarity, and I know everybody here in the Wolfpack, they got that Gucci clarity because I drill this into your heads every day about this long, frosty March with that frosty beverage, that Gucci clarity, so that we do not get cut up like sushi, okay? You're not going to get cut up like sushi by having a long-term horizon, because you know what's going to happen? Prices are going to go up and go down every day. Bells are going to ring every day, open and closing, right? If you learn to throw that noise out the window, you don't pay attention anymore. It's not anything of validity for where you're going, okay? You can see where we're going. I'd like to remember this moment right now that we're all in the boats with Christopher Columbus, proving the world isn't flat. What do you think those people on the boats, once Christopher got to the point of the map where he said, you see, guys, we didn't go over the edge. The world isn't flat. I'm sure a lot of people said, you know, Chris, I'd like to get off the boat now. I don't want to die of scurvy. When are we making landfall? This is fantastic, right? But I mean, when are we making landfall? Because I don't want to lose my teeth because of scurvy. This is going to be a problem. I need my teeth, okay? We're in that moment right now where we've lost sight of land and the world isn't flat anymore. So if you can broaden your horizons, look at your trading journal that I keep telling you to have about why you did this, it's going to be a magnificent time. And as we approach this day, prices will continue to move higher. XRP, if 197 holds, you're still Gucci with that play, right? You know, if I want to say maybe a medium target, 4 to 8 weeks, you could see $3. Maybe 8 to 12 weeks, you're looking at 366. But that can be undone if there's a government shutdown or all the kinds of things, right? Or the BOJ throws shades on certain things. But what a time to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the DeFi stablecoin consideration insert. Lawmakers aren't just looking at single assets. DeFi protocols, stablecoin, frameworks, and yield structures are all on the table. How these are treated under law will directly shape the ecosystem Ripple operates in and influence adoption across multiple digital channels. This is why clarity is about more than XRP. It's about the structure of the entire market. It's like building a dam. The inspection date doesn't make the water flow overnight, but it confirms the structure will hold when the rains come. That's clarity, and that's what January 15th really represents. 589 symbolism recap. And as a final note here, the 589 symbolism keeps surfacing. Whether intentionally or not, it's become a kind of pattern for the community to watch. Signals, timing, and executive behavior are all part of the subtle landscape. The serious investors track. This is a construction. Let me put it this way. Nobody gets excited about trenches. They're messy. They're disruptive. They don't look like progress until everything runs through what's inside them. That's where we are right now. Pipes are being laid. Rules are being debated. Infrastructure is being tested. And XRP, whether people like it or not, keeps showing up in the rooms where these conversations are happening. Think of it like the Panama Canal. Decades of planning, digging, and engineering before ships sailed smoothly. Nobody celebrated the trenches, but when the gates opened, the world changed. That's the scale of what's being laid right now in XRP and the ecosystem. Ripple and MoonPay. And when you layer all this together, regulatory clarity progressing, institutional frameworks forming, and infrastructure companies like Ripple expanding, acquisitions like MoonPay don't appear randomly. They appear strategically. This isn't about announcement. It's about positioning and clarity, not after it. That's how serious companies move. Remember, markets adoption and infrastructure are built in trenches. Nobody celebrates trenches, but when clarity lands and the pipes are fully laid, that's when everything flows quietly, steadily, and powerfully. That's the lesson for XRP holders today. Ladies and gentlemen, so January 15th isn't a magic date, but it is a signal. It's a signal that the conversation has moved from if to how. And once that happens, the timeline changes. Not overnight, not dramatically, but structurally. And that's where patience pays. Ladies and gentlemen, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. I'll put these rants in at different points. I want you to realize that if the powers that be are prepared to take a dramatic action and do the what happened with Venezuela in the way that it was done, okay, to all parties involved, sending a message to everybody and what it represents, what do you think they're willing to do for the financial system? Stop and think about this a second. I want you to forge some Gucci clarity. If you made it this far in the video, I want to see you drop a comment about and your opinion about what I just said. The answer to this question: what do you think that they're willing to do? How far are you willing to go? I'm going to share a story that not in this video, but what someone, a very, very powerful floor trader from a very, very old wealthy family explained to me when I was very young on the floor of the Mercantile Exchange, when I was just getting hit in the head with cards, when I first started, right? Everybody, this guy moved markets, what he did, and people came and but I'm not going to do it today. But again, how far do you think they're willing to go? What they're willing to do? If you'll just take out something like that, you will rewire everything what you want it. So understand that if someone, and you got to put this on the map right now, we're going to have a new map. I want you to write this across the map. How far is the West willing to go to rewire everything? They just destroyed both maps. They just unified the entire West side. It now belongs to the West. That's it. The resources, everything, the future. It's left in the East guessing now. Yeah, they can hoard all the things that they want, but they're guessing what's coming next. Shock the world. So how far you think they're willing to go to rewire everything? So when Printed to Win It begins, ninja loans for businesses, do you realize what could happen with this? So again, once there's clarity and this comes, major institutions are going to open the floodgates for what's going to happen. It's going to be massive. And again, people are going to be sick thinking they never got involved with this. And this will be looked no different. My famous analogy, we are on a plane ride right now for a family vacation. We're going through turbulence right now, okay? Money's going to flow out of other things now, and it's going to flow into undervalued assets. You're going to see companies take out other things. And what I mean by other things, they're going to have to reallocate money into things that are going to basically create alpha for themselves. That's what it is. You always say this, right? We're going to be coming out with some other videos with HBAR, okay, and some other ones that we really like about why ICP, XLM, because we are the Crypto Republic, we are the XRP, but we're going to have some other tidbits in there for people about things that we like. But again, how far are they willing to go? They just rearranged the map. So as far as I'm concerned, if you needed an answer to that question, they're going to rewire everything. So it's kind of these things are the lay down or get down, unfortunately, in finance. This helped bring you clarity. Hit that like button, subscribe. If you want more grounded breakdowns, no hype, no nonsense, the work continues. Stay sharp, stay patient. I'll see you in the next one. Also, I enjoy seeing everyone's in the comments in the Patreon. This is fantastic. This content is for information and entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as financial advice. Always do your own research and consult a licensed financial advisor before making investment decisions. Remember, the game is changing, and those who understand it first will benefit the most. Make sure you're on the right side of it. You have two choices. You can be like the crowd, reacting after the move, rationalizing why they missed it, telling themselves they'll never let it happen again. Or you can be the one who saw behind the curtain, the one who understood the infrastructure shift, the one who positioned early, not randomly, but intentionally. Because some moments in history are loud, but the ones that change everything are quiet, right up until the moment they're not. And this is one of those moments. Do not blink, because the world is distracting you with noise, while XRP continues developing behind the scenes and building momentum in the broader digital asset landscape. Stay sharp, stay informed, accumulate knowledge. Your move now will be remembered. This is not the end of the story. This is just the beginning. So open your eyes, smash that like button, ring that bell, leave a comment with your thoughts. Turn on notifications, and most importantly, subscribe to Crypto Republic. We break down the major global banking trends shaping digital assets today, giving you context, clarity, and research you can use. Don't just watch history happen. Stay informed, stay ahead, stay in the Republic.